Hi Hunters, this video is a topic suggested by you, the community. How much of a difference does each guard level make on your weapon? Or can you skip it entirely and go full offense? In this video, we're testing guard across all the guarding weapons: lance, charge blade, greatsword, sword and shield, and heavy bowgun. I'll show you exactly how guard affects chip damage, knockback, and stamina loss. I'll also share my own opinions on how guard feels for certain weapons, but remember, that's just my take. And keep in mind, we're only testing against the training dummy. Different monsters may have different attack properties, which can change how guard levels affect both your weapon and the chip damage you take. In the end, it'll be up to you to decide if it's worth a slot in your builds. Let's get guarding. Right off the bat, Lance gets a stun hit after guarding. I'm a little jealous, but hey, it is what it is. Similar to Gun Lance, Lance only takes chip damage when you don't run guard. With guard 1, that chip damage is completely negated and the stamina drain from blocking is cut by more than half. Guard 2 and guard 3 are nice, but honestly, the difference in stamina drain compared to guard 1 is pretty negligible. So I'd say guard 1 is usually enough for Lance. But of course, different monsters have different attack properties, so you'll want to adjust accordingly. As for perfect guard, it's a little tricky to chain. The moment you release guard, stamina starts restoring, so you usually only see one instance in action, unless there's a chaining method for Lance that I'm unaware of. Just like normal guarding though, the difference in stamina drain from no guard to guard 1 is noticeable, but going beyond guard 1 doesn't change much. In my opinion, Lance doesn't really need guard at all thanks to the charge counter in its moveset. A successful counter ignores both damage and knockback. That said, with the recent talisman update, squeezing in guard 1 isn't impossible, and it can make your blocks a little more stamina friendly and comfy. Again, that's just my take. Phew, that was a lot of footage to record. Charge Blade is definitely more tedious to test because the power shield plays a big role in how much impact and stamina you can absorb or negate. With no guard and normal guarding, there's chip damage as expected, and the pushback is pretty noticeable, both with and without power shield. But the stamina loss differences really stand out. Moving into perfect guard, chip damage disappears as expected, and pushback is reduced to just a minor knock, which is manageable. The stamina results honestly make me think that power shield acts like guard 1, even outside of perfect guarding, because the difference is so clear. On top of that, if you land a perfect guard with power shield, it actually deals damage and charges your files. That's a really neat trick, and it really seals the deal that mastering perfect guard on Charge Blade is incredibly valuable. Now here's where it gets interesting. With guard 1 equipped, the results felt odd. Pushback looked the same as no guard, chip damage was only slightly reduced, but the stamina told a different story. It seemed like stamina drain was lower with power shield, but after reviewing the footage, I think the training dummy might actually be registering an extra hit on the shield, which caused more chip damage and stamina drain than expected. I even noticed this during perfect guard testing. So maybe this is just how the dummy interacts, or maybe I'm missing something. If anyone with more Charge Blade experience can explain this, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Going into guard 2 and guard 3, the results are pretty much what we expected based on the gun lance and lance test. With guard 2, chip damage is completely gone with the power shield using normal guard. Knockback stays about the same, with power shield reducing it to just a minor pushback. The interesting part here is that with guard 2, you actually see less stamina drain when normal guarding with power shield compared to perfect guarding without it. That's really surprising. On top of that, perfect guarding with power shield drains about the same stamina as normal guarding, which is interesting to note. Moving into guard 3, there's no longer any major pushback, even on normal guarding without power shield. Across the board, everything just reduces down to that same small pushback, whether it's normal guard or perfect guard. The stamina drain also feels more or less the same regardless of power shield or perfect guarding, which honestly makes guard 3 feel kind of overkill. To wrap up, I honestly don't know what level of guard to recommend for Charge Blade. There's just so much going on between guard, perfect guard, and power shield. Maybe a more experienced hunter can share their recommendations down in the comments, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Sheesh, did you see how far I got pushed back when normal guarding with no guard at all? That was really atrocious. With guard 1, that knockback drops to just a minor pushback, and by guard 3, there's no pushback at all. Chip damage follows the same pattern, reduced from no guard to guard 1, stays about the same at guard 2, and then completely gone at guard 3. The stamina drain here is where things get interesting. Going from no guard to guard 1, stamina drain is cut almost in half. Guard 2 doesn't really change much, but guard 3 drops it by nearly half again compared to guard 1 and 2. That's a much bigger improvement than we've seen on other weapons at guard 3. On perfect guard, chip damage is gone, as expected, and stamina drain behaves just like we've seen so far. Now you could make a case for running guard 3 on Greatsword, but considering this weapon already has dodge rolls, shoulder tackle, quick sheathing, and other mobility options, plus the benefits of perfect guard, I honestly don't see much reason to invest in guard. The only real exceptions might be if you're running an offensive guard build or trying to keep maximum might active more consistently. But even then, those are relatively easy to maintain without needing guard 3. On Sword and Shield, we see a similar pattern to Greatsword, but with an important difference. Because Sword and Shield has the weakest shield out of all 14 weapons, chip damage is still present all the way up until Guard 2, and you'll still take a major pushback. Chip damage itself doesn't change much between Guard 1 and 2, but with Guard 3, chip damage is finally gone and stamina drain is reduced significantly. With Perfect Guard, like the other weapons, there's no chip damage and stamina drain improves as you raise your guard level. So the question is, should you even run guard on Sword and Shield? Personally, I don't think it's necessary. The weapon already has fast sheathing, dodge rolls, and great mobility. Blocking usually feels more like a last resort safety net. But of course, not everyone likes to rely on mobility. My general rule of thumb would be, if you're not perfect guarding and you're almost always normal guarding, go for Guard 3 so you avoid that atrocious knockback and chip damage. But if you're confident with perfect guarding, then Guard 1 is usually enough. It's not too much to ask for one slot. On Heavy Bowgun, we start with a major knockback at no guard and guard 1. That improves to a minor knockback at guard 2, and by guard 3, there's no knockback at all. Chip damage tells a similar story. No guard and guard 1 are the same. Guard 2 shows only a slight reduction, and guard 3 completely removes it. Stamina drain follows the expected pattern, with guard 3 giving the biggest reduction. On perfect guard, like the other weapons, there's no chip damage at any level of guard. There's also no knockback, even at no guard. The only thing that changes is stamina drain, which scales as expected. Overall, Heavy Bowgun behaves pretty standard compared to the melee weapons. But here's the difference. Heavy Bowgun is primarily a ranged weapon. Most of the time, you're standing far away from the monster, even in solo play. With Evade Extender, your dodge roll covers a lot of ground, and you can usually reposition safely. On top of that, Heavy Bowgun lets you move while shooting. So if you know a monster's range, you can often just step back and keep firing while the attack whiffs in front of you. That means Heavy Bowgun users don't really guard often. Maybe once in a blue moon, unless you're running a spread build where you're forced to stay up close and personal. So, does Heavy Bowgun need guard? Maybe, if your build forces you into close range. But in general, I don't think it's necessary. And that wraps up our guard tests across all the guarding weapons. Looking back, I realized that in my earlier videos on guard, guard up, and chip damage, I based most of my conclusions only on gun lance. I didn't fully factor in the other guarding weapons, and that left some gaps in the bigger picture. Thanks to your feedback, I went back and tested guard on every weapon that can block, and now it's much clearer. Guard doesn't directly control chip damage, but it does determine how much you take, and that depends heavily on which weapon you're guarding with. Keep in mind, different monsters will have different attack properties, so you may need different guard levels to fully maximize your hunt. So once again, thank you for pushing me to dig deeper and test this across the board. It's a good reminder that we're always learning together as a community. Now I want to hear from you. Do you run guard on your main weapon, or do you prefer skipping it for more offense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to see how different hunters approach their builds. Until then, I'm Marneus. Courage and glory, hunters. I'll see you in the next quest.